Is your jade plant getting enough water? If you simply dump just a small amount of water in the soil and then walk away, I'm sorry to say it, but you're doing it absolutely wrong. Jade plants actually like a lot of water, and they also like a lot of light. So if you can correct those two things, then you'll have an absolutely thriving jade plant. I never water my jades on a schedule, and honestly, I can't remember the last time I watered this one specifically. And I'll tell you one way, a very simple method without even checking the soil, even though you do want it absolutely bone dry, but you want to do what's called a taco test. And I'm not talking about these tacos, I'm talking about if you can fold or bend a jade leaf in the shape of a taco, then it needs to be watered. It's such a simple method to determine whether your jade needs water or not. Now, I can't really give you any advice about the frequency of watering just because your conditions will be different from mine. So everything from light, temperature, soil, everything plays a factor in how often you will water your jade plant, but just pay attention to the leaves. They will tell you everything. Jade plants store water in their big, beautiful, plump, juicy green leaves, as well as a stem to use during dry periods. But this doesn't mean you need to treat it like a desert. In fact, you might actually be stunting the growth if you're providing it such harsh conditions. Like I said, they do like a lot of water. They just don't like to sit in soggy soil. So you want to start with giving your plant the brightest area that you have in your house. This is my south-facing window. It is an unobstructed window and it gets plenty of light throughout the day. Now, if you don't have good natural sunlight, you can also supplement it with a grow light. I have this one here from Soltech to supplement my plants over the winter time. Now, ideally, you do want a south-facing window, but if you have a west-facing window, that should be good as well. You want to make sure you have at least a minimum of 6 hours of bright light throughout the day. Now, if your plant isn't in a bright window, if it's off to the side, you just want to make sure that you slowly acclimate it to higher light or direct light conditions. Otherwise, you can definitely scorch the leaves. So just move the plant a little bit closer every couple weeks until you get it in the optimal light. I recommend that you get a digital light meter. You can also get free apps on your phone. It's just a nice, easy way to test whether your plant is getting sufficient light. Now, I do have it times by 10. So right here, this plant is getting almost 5,000 foot candles. Underneath the grow light, it's getting about, well, almost 7,000 foot candles. So you want a minimum of between 500 and 1,000 foot candles, but ideally if you could get higher than that, 1,000 or a couple thousand foot candles, that's the perfect range for having them indoors. Just as a comparison, in this corner I have a ZZ plant, a couple Aglaonemas, as well as a couple Monsteras. At minimum, these plants need probably around 100 to 200 foot candles, whereas the succulents and jades and cactus, all those types, try to obtain around 3,000 to 4,000 foot candles. Now, the last thing before I give this plant some water is you just want to make sure that you have it in an appropriate soil. This is a succulent soil from VeryPlants. As you can see, it's quite chunky. It's basically just full of little rocks, but you want to make sure that you have a cactus or succulent specific soil. A lot of times they'll have sand content in there as well. So do not use a tropical soil or just a regular potting soil. Those will absolutely, in time, kill your plant. There's a couple ways that you can water these plants. If the conditions are favorable for outside, you can definitely take it out and absolutely soak the soil. You want to make sure that it is completely saturated. You can let the hose or however you're watering it, you can let it go for a couple minutes and it's not going to harm the plant. And the other method is just simply with a watering can, but you want to absolutely soak the soil and then let it fill up in the saucer underneath the pot. So I'm going to use this entire pot or this entire can of water, and as the water fills up the saucer, just let it sit there for about 10 minutes, and that way the plant can soak up as much water as it needs, and then just simply empty the tray or saucer, and that is how you water a jade plant. I filled up the can again, and I'm actually going to give it a little bit more water just because the saucer is not completely filled up. So this is not overwatering. Overwatering is when the soil stays wet or damp for too long. It doesn't have the ability to dry quick enough, and that ends up getting the root rot causing bacteria. If you find that your soil is staying damp for more than a week and it's in like a porcelain or just a regular plastic nursery pot, then you can definitely try terracotta. Terracotta is very porous, it absorbs soil moisture, and it helps evaporate it out. So not only using the correct pot, but also the correct soil. You want to make sure that it is very gritty, and like I said, it is made for cactus and succulents because it allows airflow to those roots as well. And then giving your plant enough light, enough to photosynthesize so that those roots can uptake the moisture as well. And like I said earlier, the frequency of watering depends on the conditions that you give it. So if it's in high light and high heat, then you're probably going to be watering it maybe once every few days, especially if it's outside right now in the summertime. It's just going to just soak up the water due to the heat and evaporation. Now, if you have it inside, it might be once a week or once every 2 weeks during the summer months. And then in the winter, when you have less light and cooler temperatures, you might only need to water it once a month, or even maybe just a little bit longer. So maybe 4 or 5 or even 6 weeks. But just always pay attention to the leaves. The leaves will tell you everything. If they are thick and plump and you cannot fold them, do not water. If you can slightly bend them like a taco, then your plant needs to be watered. I hope this video has helped you better understand how to water a jade plant. If you have any comments or questions, please leave it down below in the comments section. I appreciate all the support. Thanks for watching my videos. Take care, everyone. Bye.